Hello everyone. So let's start with our discussion on starting with the June 24th. Yes, we are lagging behind by a few days. That will be covered up in next 2 to 3 days. So kindly focus. So RBI and banks to develop digital payment intelligence platform. Again, sir, this is in the context of General Studies paper 3. All right, General Studies paper 3 में uh, especially about cyber security. All right, increasing bank frauds in India, and since India is going for digital governance, what are the initiatives? What are the measures? That how preparedness are we? So accordingly, see here, as per RBI's annual report, fraud cases in the banking sector alone is seeing a significant rise. Look at this from 12,000 to almost uh, three times. All right. So total value of frauds jumped to nearly 36,000 crores. So should I remember these facts? Yes. Now, what do you mean by what do you mean by digital payment infrastructure? Okay, digital public infrastructure, because we are undergoing reforms in provisioning of all the essential services, okay, digitally. But the core infrastructure part that is required is basically network connectivity, then linking with Aadhaar and unified payment systems, okay, Aadhaar enabled payment systems. All right, all these UPI payment apps, etc., run on this digital public infrastructure. All right. So, if India is looking forward for this, then what are some of the problems? So, is let me show here. Let me show here what are the essential, because in the preliminary examination questions have come. Okay, they can ask you a framed applied question. So, a digital public infrastructure is a foundational digital system provided by the public sector to provide and enhance the functioning of the digital economy. It is like, if the government starts providing roads, if the government starts providing electricity, etc., then overall the economy will start boosting, right? In the same way, in the digitally. All right. If you have this DigiLocker system, then if you have a digital payment system and providing a security framework, so that people start trusting it. All right, having regular internet connectivity, these are essential part of digital public infrastructure. So if UPSC asks you, round by question also, you should be able to answer it. Now, next part, coming to this, what are some of the associated challenges with respect to digital public system or a public infrastructure? Sir, market concentration. Largely, they can result in large amount of monopolies. All right, example is Paytm. All right, or phone pay, they're monopolies, less amount of competition, and also data exploitation, the customer's data, all right, because can be misused, which can create unfair trade disadvantage. And then innovative concerns, innovation concerns, matlab, now too much of private entities, okay, without any regulations. What if they start going into the deep net, all right, or the dark net? All right, then there is again privatization. The involvement of private firms in digital public infrastructure raises concerns about privatization of public data. Matlab, all the public data, your Aadhaar, your payment systems, all these are the public data. What if they are privatized? And vulnerability to cyber attacks and digital divide, that is digital inequality. Okay, matlab, not everyone will have equal access to this. What about Naxal areas? What about Northeast? What about Jammu and Kashmir? All right, so these are some of the limitations which we need to work on. Accordingly, sir, sir, digital public the digital intelligence platform is to bolster, okay, fraud risk management by facilitating real intelligence, and it will also strengthen existing fraud detection systems by enabling coordination among the banks. And in this context, remember the committee, the committee under AP HOTA, yes, again important to examine various aspects. Okay, what are the regulatory issues? What about international coordination? What are the best practices? They look into, and they suggest the measures. Now, in this context, there are some of the initiatives taken by the Reserve Bank to curb. Okay, in this, the multi-factor authentication. For example, if you are trying to open a Gmail in a a cyber center on another laptop or something, it will ask for more authentication. That is called multi-factor. All right, more than two factors, or simply if you want to download your Aadhaar also, it goes for two-factor authentication, right? And also, if there are any losses due to negligence by the banks, zero liability on the customers. And also, in order to recognize, okay, in order to recognize whether the site is genuine or not. All right, so Reserve Bank of India has tried to use, okay, try to publicize the bank.in, finance fin.in to help customer easily. All right, then comes something more important. Financial Action Task Force releases what is called complex proliferation, financing, and sanction evasion schemes. मतलब uh, many the financial system is becoming more and more vulnerable, where this money is also going towards weapons of mass destruction. All right, complex proliferation financing. All right, it is going, this money which is rooted through the financial system, is going into weapons of mass destruction, which is a serious threat to global security. In this context, an important institution called Financial Action Task Force. So Financial Action Task Force. Okay, this is very important in the context of prelims. All right, now look at this. It is formed in the year 1989, and it has two lists, that is gray list for increased monitoring, okay, of those countries, and again black list. For example, Pakistan was kept in gray list. All right, now high risk countries with severe non compliance. Now sir, what are the things is related to India? India became full part of FATF, so enforcement directorate officers will be required to report about the essential money laundering issues. Now, so in this context, whether India has complied, yes. Okay, see, Prevention of Money Laundering Act enabled in the enacted in the year 2002. It's a part of Financial Action Task Force recommendation. All right, then the Financial Intelligence Unit under under the Minister of Finance. Then demonetization that we did in 2016 November. All right, then crypto regulations. See, remember, crypto as such in India, it is not illegal as such, not illegal. All right, because it is running on blockchain technology, and the government wants to develop enable the development of this technology. But nevertheless, the profit that you get out of the cryptocurrencies like bitcoins, okay, for that you need to pay capital gains tax. So India is tightening the regulations to prevent misuse of money laundering in this. All right, because people buy cryptocurrencies and using their black money, and they convert it to white money. All right, by paying the taxes. So this is again harmful. Now the government is trying to do it again. Very, very important in the context of mains examination. Nothing as such of importance for the prelims. Now, sir, use of sir, techniques used by the illicit actors. They try to conceal the ownership. They try to use virtual assets such as bitcoins, okay, virtual currencies, and for that matter, the complex nature of the shipping industries, where dark fleet, matlab they are disguised as vessels. All right. So in this way, there is also proliferation. With globalization, more negative money is generated, and this is going for development of weapons of mass destruction. Yes. Now, as such, nothing of sort here. Global Tobacco Report, okay, by WHO. You don't have to worry of this, because these will be coming again and again, and there are more serious issues which you can relate. Now, something more important in this context is what is called Intergovernmental Science Policy Panel on Chemical Waste and Pollution. All right, International Intergovernmental Science Policy Panel. All right, it's a governmental panel for chemical waste and pollution. So nowadays, the government has formed various institutions. Not the government, the international body that is towards the environment. Okay, they have formed various panels. One such important panel that you should notice, the two important panels, IPCC, International Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, then Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity Ecosystem, and another one is this one. All right. So now why? Because chemical and waste, they are also contributing towards damaging the environment. This is all the three. All right. So we need to protect the climate. For protecting the environment, we need to control climate change. We need to protect biodiversity, and we need to regulate the chemical and waste industries as well. All right. So it is going to complete the triple. Okay, the trioca we can call. Now, sir, its creation follows a resolution in 2002 that called for establishment of this intergovernmental body. Then, the negotiations convened will now be hosted by this panel, not required. Now, sir, what is will this panel do? It is an independent, policy relevant scientific advice. It will give it to United Nations, all right, so that international conventions can be arrived. Now, in this context, you should have some strong idea about the municipality waste generation itself is going to reach nearly 3.8 billions. All right. What is the state of your state? Okay. What is the of your municipality waste in your districts? All these are important to highlight your seriousness of that particular issue, especially in your ethics. Sorry, in your essay. All right. And new forms of, because somewhere we are trying to reduce the pollution. Okay, somewhere the pollution, new pollutants are also getting added into the environment. So what are the measures that we need to take? All right, then next comes an important issue in this context. See, the recent Ukraine war crisis, the recent uh, you know the issue of Middle East. All these are posing environmental risk. All right. For example, attack of USA on Iran, Operation Midnight Hammer. All right. It could have caused radioactive contamination. That is also type of pollution itself. So in this context, how are various wars, civil wars which are happening, especially in Africa, etc. How are they affecting? Okay, see here, the Gaza destruction is also a type of pollution itself. All right. So, impact of conflict on environment. So it results in greenhouse gases. It also results in pollution and contamination, especially the power plants attack in Russia. Then the landmines and unexploded missiles pose also long-term risk to the both soil, etc. Yes, as such, UPSC has not asked this type of question, and again they are not going to ask, but definitely the points given here is an important dimensions in your mains answer as well as ethics. All right, how can war can also undermine the environment? All right, today we are fighting to save the environment. At the same time, we are fighting more wars, which is causing destruction. As simple as that. All right, but remember the International Climate Agreement, that is the Paris Climate Agreement, also makes reporting on military emissions just voluntary. Yes, you can just quote this. All right. Yes. Then comes what is called OIC. All right. OIC stands for Organization for Islamic Countries. All right. It was formed in 1969 and it is a group of 57 countries. You can see the map. All right. You can see the map. Yes, sir. Does it include countries from Asia? Yes. Okay. Southeast Asia? Yes. North America? No. And South America? Yes. That is Libya. All right. I'm sorry, it's not Libya. Okay, now, now in this context, sir, why was it in news? Why was it in news? See, for the examination, you should know, you should have an idea about why was it in news, because this country, despite India having the largest Muslim population in the world, all right, in terms of percentage, it is not India, but in terms of the population, okay, India stands top. All right, they have made certain allegations regarding India's you know uh, concerns regarding India's actions towards Muslims, which are generally factually incorrect. So India raised a voice. All right, again, India is not a member of this. All right, yes. Next, coming to something important. Sir, should I study this? World Meteorological Organization, it is a specialized agency. All right, remember IPCC, just we discussed, it is not a specialized agency. All right, it reports to the United Nations. So in that context, know what is specialized agencies. All right, so World Bank, all right, is a specialized agency. All right, for helping the reconstruction of the developing worlds. All right. In that context, World Meteorological Organization, it keeps on coming out with various reports. You don't have to bother. You don't have to read also. All right. Then recycled plastics. So nowadays we are trying to recycle the plastics, but this plastic, recycled plastic, is also causing several. So plastics are basically polymers. All right, polymers. So let us see some of the plastic technologies. Okay, innovations in plastic recycling either is chemical recycling, say breaking down plastics into from polymers into monomers, or bioplastics. You doing preparing plastic from biodegradable wastes. All right, then waste to energy, converting non-recyclable plastics into fuel. All right, then. So yes, sir. Approximately, India is producing nearly 3.5 tons, a million tons of plastic waste annually, and only 60% of the waste plastic that is produced is getting recycled. So sufficient recycling is not there. In this context, I'm telling. But note here, even recycled plastic, it is having nearly 800 different chemicals that can harm, that can get into the water and can disrupt the metabolism in the organisms. All right, then then comes there's nothing to read here, blowout, etc. All right, basically a natural gas in one of the fields of ONGC, oil wells. The natural gas started bursting out uncontrollably, so they want to control it. All right, then then comes Ullas, very, 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 very important. Navabharat Saksharta Karikram, New India Literacy Program, if we are in the age group of 15 and above. Okay, very, very important, 15 and above. Okay, the government has started what is called Ullas program from from 2022, and by Ministry of Education, and it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Why? Because education comes under state concurrent list. All right, for those coming under concurrent list, okay, it's a sponsored schemes. Now, the objective of this is to people who are non-literates, who are adults, who have missed their schoolings, all right, to teach them the basic numeracy and the counting, and ability to read the basic stuff, etc. It is provided both the hybrid way, that is online and offline mode. So again, you can write it in digital governance. And after Mizoram and Goa, okay, Tripura became the third state to be fully literate in terms of Ullas. Okay, important, important. Then, yes, this Kamakya temple we'll be discussing in art and culture. Okay, as such, the Ambubachi Mela is a famous Mela that happens, okay, to celebrate the fertility of the Mother Earth. All right, because they believe Earth to be of woman, and whenever it is undergoing this, you know, uh, the cycle changes, they celebrate it. All right, then comes a very important country, that is Qatar. All right, Qatar. See here, you can see Doha. All right, there was an air base called Al Udeid Air Base. It is the largest American air base in West Asia. All right. This was attacked by Iran as a retaliatory strike due to Operation Midnight Hammer. So, in that context, sir, does it share border? It shares border only with Saudi Arabia. That is what is the only important point. All right. Yes. Then comes the 25th June. We'll be looking at something very, very important. Something called small finance banks. Sir, small finance banks, they were created. See, we have commercial banks. All right. You have regional rural banks, which was formed in 1975. Then we have in commercial banks also there are public sector banks, as well as private banks. All right, then there are payment banks, and then there are non banking financial institutions. The objective here is the government wants to deepen, the Reserve Bank of India wants to deepen the financial inclusion. Okay, to generate more and more credit availability. So in the year 2014 and 15, we see what is called small finance banks. The small finance banks, they are regulated under the Companies Act. Again, important. Matlab, you have to register your companies, you have to register your small finance bank under the Companies Act. Then they will be regulated by under the banking, okay, the Banking Regulation Act by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, to open your small finance bank, you need to have a promoter's capital of 200 crores. Matlab, people who are investing for the first time. All right. Now the government has tried to relax. Okay, the Reserve Bank of India has tried to relax. See here, from 1970, Reserve Bank of India has come out with what is called Priority sector lending. Priority sector matlab the banks are compelled, the commercial banks are compelled up to 45 rupees out of 100 rupees of their lending, out of their 100 rupees of their lending, 45 rupees has to go the uh, towards the priority sectors. So what are the priority sectors? Okay, agriculture, MSMEs, export credit, education, housing, social infrastructure, renewable energy, all right, and rural development projects. But okay, the small finance banks earlier they had to lend up to 75%. All right, 75% of what? 75% of their net adjusted net bank credit. So overall credit, whatever there, you can analogy. All right, you can develop an analogy. Overall bank का credit में 75 out of 100 rupees they have to give 45 rupees. Now these small banks, that is new small finance banks, they are supposed to give up to 75%. But now the government has reduced it to 60%. Reserve Bank of India, I'm sorry. Okay, Reserve Bank of India has reduced it to 60%. All right, yes. Very important, please go through this. Okay, then comes, see, the new warfares. All right, are large, not restricted to land, they are not restricted to navy, they are not restricted to air force. So we require an integrated command. All right, integrated command. So in that context, chief of defense staff, it's a joint to bring more jointness and integration. Under this command, there will be the armed forces. See, now for example, navy mein there are naval ships mein there are air force combatants. So because the future warfare requires this integration. Now the government has authorized that chief of defense staff can issue joint orders. Earlier, each of them used to take separate decisions. All right, when army calls for navy or navy calls for air force, but now the CDS, because in developed countries, all right, especially in superpowers like USA, they have this jointness, so that one joint command will feel more, we can take decisions depending upon the requirements. So 2025, okay, you can expect this in the mains examination as well, because several reforms have been introduced. Okay, apart from chief of defense staff, now the government has introduced department of military affairs under ministry of defense, and new joint commands in Andaman Nicobar. All right, and headquarters for integrated defense staff as a single point tri service. All right, and in fact the army is trying to modernize uh, using drone warfare, using cyber upgradations, etc. All right, so just go through this, important for the mains examination in the context of paper 3. All right, as well as essay. Okay, yes, essay can come completely on India's defense preparedness. All right, then, sir, we are getting into data. All right, data-based governance. So more is the data, more will be the governance. Better will be the governance. But somewhere the quality of data is not accurate. All right, well, largely because, see, especially when you take the photographs. Okay, especially in Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, when they want to give insurance. Okay, the government, the private players, especially the field workers, they capture the data which is largely 80% accurate. All right, and for that matter, the data that is that we host on clouds are also sometimes outdated. Okay, and for that matter, because various states, various departments are having different formats, sometimes the governance can become slow because of lack of integration. And old and outdated data can also, well, largely because, see, why they are focusing is because of lack of good data, accurate data. It can, our welfare budgets. Matlab when we are, see, for example, what if there are mistakes in census? What if there are mistakes in Aadhaar? Okay, it can result in wastage, leakages. All right, so in order to improve accuracy, completeness, timeliness, consistency, validity, and uniqueness, again, sir, should I buy heart this? Yes, you can make a small acronym and write, yes, it's a good value addition. Okay, these words will not be on timely available in the mains examination. So India, rather than focusing towards collecting more and more data, should prioritize more and quality data. Okay, yes, important for better digital governance. All right, Chalo, we'll be continuing with this one in the